So nice.
Yeah, that's what's cool.
Hi, Jürgen, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
And Carla too.
Excellent.
Okay. I think we're good, right?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
When you are finished.
My speakers are off and everything.
I'm unmuted.
And Carla and Yukian, y'all can hear.
Yeah, we can hear.
Beautiful. This might work.
I'm like, I'm set.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself again. Can y'all hear us also?
Yeah.
Oh, then there you go. All right.
Okay. I think we're ready whenever.
I'll start recording and then ask you young to start at meeting. Okay. Yugen, could you let people in?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, yeah, let me try it.
Everyone from the waiting room is in.
Done. Welcome, everyone. We'll give just one more second as people get audio connected. Good to see everybody. Are you hearing me okay? Check the audio. Great.
Sounds great.
Excellent. Check this first. Well, we'll get started. Welcome to special called ERC Advisory Board meeting. We will start out by taking attendance really quick for the board members. Celeste,
Present.
Kathy,
Here.
Polly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I muted myself. I'm here.
Great. Angie,
Here.
Linda Rosca,
Present.
Yuji,
Here.
Jackie.
Here.
And we did get a nomination out as of yesterday to Megan Spencer. I don't know if it's Megan or Megan, but this was a very quick turnaround, so she's likely not joining us today, but I need to ask if she's here officially on the book. I don't think she is, but if you're here, Megan, let us know. Okay. I'm hoping next board meeting we'll be able to do some new introduction. But All right, so we have a quorum. We'll move on to next. We're not welcoming new board members yet, until they're present. But next is public testimony. We don't have anybody registered, so we can move on to item 4, consideration and possible action to approve new research projects. So let's get started. Proposal 1, including remote access request UH072. We have a researcher here to talk about this project.
Hi, I'm Blake Keller. Should I just get started?
Welcome. Yes, yeah, please tell us a little bit about your project as a whole.
All right, terrific. Hi, everybody. I'm Blake Keller. I'm an assistant professor at the Hobby School of Public Affairs at the University of Houston. Thank you for considering my proposal titled Assessing the Landscape of Career and Technical Education in Texas, a research practice partnership. This project builds on some work that's been done by some folks from the call, so I'm grateful for their prior work on this topic, and I hope to add to this growing literature. As the name implies, this project was conceived as a partnership between TEA's Division of College Career and Military Prep. It's built on the central goals of advancing our understanding of how students engage with CTE coursework in Texas schools, how CTE influences student experiences outside of K-12 settings, and identifying the factors that shape the CTE teaching workforce. So you're probably wondering, why do I need ERC data for this project? Or maybe not. ERC data are essential to each phase of the project. So I'll use course taking records from the ERC to construct measures of CTE engagement, including participation, concentration, and completion, and leverage the links between K-12, higher ed, and workforce to explore the links between CTE engagement and other outcomes of interest. Student microdata will allow me to identify kind of variation in access to CTE opportunities across cohorts in schools and within cohorts in schools. That's going to be essential for some of the causal work that I propose. Finally, ERC data also offers a unique opportunity to examine the CTE teacher workforce, allowing me to follow and observe transitions between CTE teaching roles and industry within the workforce data. In short, the ERC data is essential to this quantitative study of the landscape of CTE in Texas. So you may be wondering, how will my ERC access benefit Texas? This project will expand CTE's access to policy analysis related to CTE on questions that they care about. The research questions for the proposal, which were developed in consultation and collaboration with state CTE leaders, may help identify future opportunities for cost-effective and fruitful investment in CTE services, identifying gaps in CTE engagement at the program and pathway level across regions and demographics, predicting excess demand for CTE opportunities, and generating new evidence about what types of CTE experiences are most strongly influence students' future educational and career trajectories. Additionally, better understanding the dynamics of the CTE labor force may help district and state leaders better anticipate CTE teacher shortages to more effectively recruit and retain teachers and build more stable CTE programs. Finally, this project will add Texas to a multi-state consortium working on CTE questions, the CTE policy exchange that's based out of Georgia State University, where our state CTE leaders can connect with their colleagues from other states to collaboratively problem solve, share best practices, and highlight Texas's role as a thought leader in CTE through multi-state reports that document state trends in career and technical education. Thank you for considering my proposal for data access, and I welcome your questions and comments.
Sorry. Thanks so much. That's really helpful context. Anyone from the board have questions or comments for the researcher?
Yeah, I just have one question. I looked at the data table and I didn't see any transcript data requested in the higher ed level. And I'm just wondering, is that of interest to you? Because with those data, you can kind of look at the types of courses students are taking, whether they're persisting, looking at those kind of more intermediate measures. And so just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I am grateful for you pointing that out. That's not something that I had considered. I think you make a great point that using some of that more granular data about post-secondary experiences, particularly looking at the link between K-12 CTE engagement and post-secondary CTE,
Sure.
I think could be really interesting. So if I'm able to modify my proposal to add those elements, I think that I would. If it would stop me from being able to start the project, I think I'd prefer to do it down the road. But again, I'm new to this process.
Yeah.
Yes, I had noted that too, Holly, though. I think that's a good point, especially looking at the link between CTE courses and CTE
Yeah.
courses, having that, the double S.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention that there was a proposal that was approved. I don't know if it was in the last advisory board, but is looking at the impacts of CTE too at the K through 12 level. And so you might just want to connect to that group, and I'm happy to put you in touch just so there's not duplicative efforts, or, that you're, doing unique or conducting unique research projects.
Yeah, I would welcome that. And I think, so much of this is going to be about providing technical support for the Division
Sure.
of College, Career, and Military Prep, as well as contributing to these multi-state analyses, that I think we can manage it without stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah, sounds good.
And while we're mentioning people who have done this work, Matt Gianni's on the call here too, and he has done some work. There he is.
I just emailed you, Blake.
Oh, terrific.
Happy to connect. Yeah.
I hope we can connect soon.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Then, do I have a motion to approve proposal 1, including remote access, with the amendment to add the OOS OCS?
I motion to approve.
I second Celeste.
You all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
All right, proposal 2, including remote access request UH-0783, post-secondary outcomes, college enrollment, and credential payment. Anyone here to talk to us about this project?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Patrick Gill. I'm the manager of research and data for an organization in Houston called Good Reason Houston. My colleague Luna Nguyen, our managing director of research and data, is also on this call. So let me start by briefly introducing Good Reason Houston. We're a nonprofit organization in Houston that builds awareness of, advocates for, and advises school systems on measures to improve the quality of public education available to all. We do this by working directly with schools and districts, by working with parents and other community members to encourage them to get involved in public education, by using publicly available data to inform the public about the current state of education, and by conducting original research to maximize our other areas of work. And so this project here really falls into that last category, which is our newest and fastest growing area as an organization. So about this project, using ERC data, we hope to develop a more robust understanding of both the current state of affairs for Texas students at various key points throughout their academic careers, such as during third grade, at the transition from middle to high school, and as future graduates prepare to transition to their post-secondary lives. The ultimate goal is to construct profiles of students as they progress through the public school system and connect those profiles to post-secondary outcomes to understand the key predictors of post-secondary success in Texas. What measures, milestones, or programs predict how students will do in the years after high school? This is intended to build on work out of the University of Chicago Consortium on School Research around predictors of post-secondary success and other national studies to understand how that research in other contexts applies here in Texas. What sets Good Reason Houston apart is our connection to key stakeholders in the education landscape, both decision makers like policymakers and district personnel, as well as other community groups and families. Leveraging our broad audience and relationships across the city, we will create and disseminate publicly available artifacts highlighting the findings from this study. We occupy a unique space in the Houston education landscape as an organization that partners directly with school districts to advise and consult with them across a variety of focus areas, which positions us to directly apply the findings from this study to target interventions that will directly improve students' post-secondary outcomes. As an example of some work that we do, we host and facilitate convenings of CCMR leads from numerous Houston region districts intended to allow those districts to collaborate on setting students up for post-secondary success. And we envision this ERC project as a key component of moving that work forward. Finally, we plan to leverage our networks to enrich the data available at the ERC with qualitative follow-ups with families and students to better understand the stories behind the numbers and enhance the impact of our research findings by identifying unmet needs. The public-facing nature of this study will inform decision makers across various important stakeholder groups, from those making policy decisions in their districts and across the state to individual families assessing the educational outcomes before them. Thanks for considering our study and look forward to your questions.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I was just gonna add that, they have requested the CBM 001. I wondered if they needed the CBM 000C1, sorry. As well as the, or CS, CBM OCS, because they requested S.
I'm not, if somebody could detail the distinction there. I can address that.
They were just new files that you're saying that you want it to the most recent. These would give you the most recent.
Oh, great. Yes, we would like it up to the most recent. I didn't realize that the file names had changed. So yes, thank you for that. If we could add that amendment, that would be fantastic.
And one other question about dashboards. Is this going towards a dashboard on your website for Good Reason Houston?
So that's a great question. Like I said, and like it says in the proposal, one of the key goals here is to create public-facing artifacts that will help decision makers from individual students and families up through like district policy and state policymakers. And a dashboard that kind of details the findings is definitely a key component. We don't exactly know what the final deliverables will be on that front, but a dashboard, we do have a series of dashboards currently available on our website that kind of present views of publicly available education data. And so adding to that, I think would be a really great way that this study can contribute to what we're already presenting. But I don't think what we're intending to create would be limited to dashboards, if that's helpful.
Pulling up our guidelines for dashboard use because there's a little bit different.
And to be clear, like obviously the dashboards would be at presenting aggregated data. None of it would be using the student level data, which we, would be subject to the ERC's data security protocols and everything anyway. So it would have to go through the whole approval process before we could export it and then utilize it in something like that.
Yes, and this can be later, but part of our guidelines for the dashboards is that you all provide to us some more detail on what exactly would be included in the dashboards. And I hear what you're saying. It would still be through that process of FERPA compliance and everything, but still the dashboards, there's that one extra step of just providing us. And I know you don't know that quite yet, but the detail of in the end, what is going to be put on the dashboards based on the ERC data.
Great. Yeah, that's really good context, and we're happy to work with y'all on that when we get towards that phase in the project. So thanks for the flag. I appreciate it.
Other questions or comments for the researcher? Right. If not, do I have a motion to approve proposal 2, including a remote access request with the amendment to add the OC1 and the OCS?
A motion to approve.
I'll second Celeste.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Holly made the motion and Celeste second. All right, proposal 3, including remote access requests, UTD 193, the impact of opt-out policies on closing gaps in advanced course taking and subsequent student. Anyone here to talk to us about this project?
Yes, I am. Hi. My name is Dareem Antoine, and I am a PhD student in economics at UTD, also a former educator in the K-12 space for the past 4 years. I am joined in this project by one of my colleagues who also goes to UTD and happens to work with me, along with me at the Texas Schools Project. And also our advisor, Trey Miller, and the other student, of course, is Daniel Vargas Castaño. Now, let's talk a little bit about this project. There is a general consensus that taking advanced coursework in high school is strongly related to subsequent academic outcomes, and sometimes well-qualified students of color are less likely than their white student counterparts to take advantage of these high school courses. With this in mind, K through 12 schools have sought out strategies to encourage more students and more qualified students of color to take these advanced courses in middle and high school. One policy that has been pretty popular in that regard is the opt-out policy. Traditionally, qualified students must opt in to enroll in advanced coursework, and many of those students of color fail to do so. Because of lack of information or even a lack of confidence. Under an opt-out policy, qualified students are automatically placed in those courses, and they must have their guardian sign off to get permission to enroll in less advanced courses. As a large, diverse and urban school district, Dallas ISD identified racial equity in education as an important priority. Noting that lower numbers of traditionally marginalized students enrolling in advanced courses, DISD introduced an opt-out policy for its honors courses at the beginning of the 2019-2020 school year. Coincidentally, that's the year that I started working with Dallas ISD. Since the implementation of the policy, honors enrollment among traditionally marginalized students has increased dramatically, and this is descriptive. For example, enrollment in sixth grade honors math increased from 33% to 59%. Among Hispanic sixth graders, 17% to 43% among Black sixth graders, and 31% to 59% among English language learning sixth graders. Of course, more research is needed to understand the effects of these policies on participation in advanced courses and subsequent student outcomes in a wide variety of settings, particularly those with large numbers of students from diverse backgrounds. This is really important, and it's highlighted as legislators have now passed a bipartisan bill that entrenches the opt-out policy for the top 40% of fifth grade math students in the state of Texas. So using ERC data, we plan to examine the causal effect of this opt-out policy that was first implemented in 2018-2019 in Dallas ISD, again, one of the largest and most diverse districts in the nation, on advanced course enrollment and student outcomes using quasi-experimental methods that include regression discontinuity and design, regression discontinuity design method. We want to contribute valuable insights for education policy and practice through several steps. First, it will produce research briefs for the Texas Schools Project to share findings. Second, these briefs will be refined into a working paper allowing for education experts and policymakers to review and provide feedback. Third, our study's findings will be published in academic journals like Economics of Education Review and Journal of Policy Analysis Management to reach a broader audience, including policymakers and practitioners. And following that publication, our team will draft an op-ed with major news outlet to help inform the public about the policy's effect. This study, of course, benefits Texas by providing policymakers with more information on the effectiveness of opt-out policies as one strategy for identifying potentially academically strong students who would benefit from the additional rigor and could increase the supply of needed STEM graduates to increase advanced enrollment of historically marginalized groups also. This is particularly important in Texas, where we have a large proportion of students that are Black and Hispanic who are less likely to enroll in advanced courses, even though they may be qualified. This research will provide school district leaders with research-based context for the impact of opt-out policies as they create advanced mathematics programs in the next few years. And it can also provide an impetus to expand the use of opt-out policies to improve educational outcomes that have for students who have been historically marginalized. Again, thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to present this research idea to you. And now we take some questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? I'm just saying, I thought this was a really interesting and well-written proposal. So thank you. Very clear example of how to use ERC data for policy evaluation. So I'm pretty excited to see what comes out of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, and do I have a motion to approve proposal 3, including remote access requests?
I move to approve. Celeste.
Yes.
Second,
And a
Jackie.
motion a second?
Jackie and Angie. We can write down either one. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Great, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, proposal 4, including remote access requests, UTD 194, early college models in Texas, exploring outcomes, model features, and equity. Any researchers here to talk to us about this one?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Priyam Becchiani. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and share with you about our project, our proposed project, Early College Models in Texas, Exploring Outcomes, Model Features, and Equity. I am a researcher at the American Institutes for Research, a nonprofit social science research organization. Before diving into a summary of the project, I just want to give a quick little information on the genesis of this project. This proposal came to be because of the interest of stakeholders in Texas. Lone Star Community College, together with Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District, the third largest school district in Texas, offer a college academy program, which is akin to an early college high school. They were interested in understanding the impact of their program on students' outcomes and reached out to researchers at AIR, which led to the proposal in front of you that I'll now quickly summarize. So early college high schools, for those of you who aren't familiar, are open enrollment programs that blend high school and college coursework and target students typically underrepresented in higher education to increase their post-secondary attainment outcomes. Texas has a long history of having early college high schools and had some of the first models funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation beginning in the early 2000s. And given early evidence from those schools on their effectiveness, Texas has embraced early college high schools as one type of innovative high school model to improve student outcomes. And TEA, the Texas Education Authority, has developed a blueprint to guide their implementation in Texas. And as of today, there's approximately nearly 200 such schools in Texas. However, as these schools proliferate, there are a number of important questions regarding their effectiveness, the specific design features associated with their impacts on student outcomes, which students are being served, and the features and effectiveness of locally developed variations like the College Academy model in Cy-Fair School District. So this project proposes to explore these questions using multiple quasi-experimental research designs and student-level data from Texas. As part of this project, we will also create a database of early college high schools and their design features that will be a component of this project. So specifically, we will examine the effect of participating in an early college high school, enrolling in an early college high school or college academy on students' high school, post-secondary, and workforce outcomes. We'll explore the extent to which various model features of these high schools, their prevalence, how they vary, and whether the impacts vary by the features that these schools have. And finally, we'll examine whether the students enrolled in these programs are demographically similar to or different than high schools in the corresponding district. We see ERC data as being essential for this project for a number of reasons. First, as noted, Texas is home to a large number of early college high schools, making it an ideal site to look at variation in the features of these schools. The student level data housed by the ERC includes indicators of ECHS participation, and given the linkages between the K-12 and higher education data, as well as workforce data, we're able to track students' longer run outcomes. So we see this study as being important to Texas and to the education research community for at least 3 reasons. First, we'll contribute to the evidence on the effectiveness of these schools, particularly this next generation of these schools where they have proliferated in states. With nearly 200 early college high schools, understanding their effectiveness is of key policy import for policymakers in Texas. Second, the results related to College Academy, while they will be of specific interest to Cypress Fairbanks and their partners at Lone Star, they're also of potential interest to other districts contemplating adapted early college high school type models. And third, the study will help policymakers and practitioners understand the prevalence of various design features. So this can be things like, are they co-located on a college campus? What type of higher education partner do they have, 2-year and 4-year? And whether any of these particular features are associated with positive impacts. To date, there's little evidence on this. Finally, these findings, particularly around design features, have the potential to influence future policies around the design of early college high schools as states further develop their blueprints for implementation. Thank you for taking up this proposal, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, I just noticed a little thing. In the proposal, you had requested TWC data, but that wasn't specifically stated on the remote access form. So I don't know if those two need to be consistent.
Oh, I'm sorry for that oversight.
No, well, let me just clarify. This is an oversight on our end, because we created the remote access form. And so if this is something that we can quickly correct on our end and send it to you, Melissa, we are more than happy to do that.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
Any other questions or comments for the researcher? Then do I have a motion to approve proposal 4, including remote access?
This is Kathy. I move to approve.
For a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right, proposal 5, including remote access request UTA 226, learning the major, the value of exploratory course taking on college majors. Anyone here to talk to us about this project?
Hi, everyone. I'm Xiaomeng. I'm a 4th-year econ PhD student from the University of Michigan. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for considering this proposal. I'm very happy to share this proposal with you all today. So this project aims to study the value of exploratory course taking on college major choice. We all know that college major choice is a very important decision that will shape students' human capital and also affect their post-graduation outcomes, the job opportunities, the earnings. However, it's not an easy decision to make, especially when students face so many uncertainties about their academic ability or even their study interest. And we do know that students switch majors throughout the college journey, which have consequences like excess credits, longer time to degree, and even higher student debt. So it's very important to understand college major determinants and how higher education can help students find their best major match in a more efficient way. That's the overall motivation for this project. And given the importance of this topic, actually there's indeed a relatively large literature trying to understand college major determinants. People have emphasized the role of expectation of earnings or even family backgrounds. But there's still one missing component, course taking, which arguably is the most straightforward way students can understand what does, say, aerospace engineering really mean by themselves. So does exploratory course taking help students improve their major match? That's the key question this project tries to answer, and I plan to do so by investigating several sub-research questions. So first of all, what type of students actually have larger uncertainties and need major exploration when they start college? Well, there will always be students who know what they want and stick to their plan, but there are also other students who are unsure about major choice. What about factors like family backgrounds, high school course taking, high school characteristics play a role in this? And the answer to this question will actually help us understand where major exploration play a bigger role. And secondly, how does course taking affect major choice? Well, on the one hand, students learn their grades through course taking and have signals about their match quality. But on the other hand, course taking also accumulates credits. So how do students balance taking course towards graduation versus I do some exploration and then until I find the correct choice? It's unclear how do they balance this trade-off until we dig deeper into the course taking choice, the major choice throughout the college journey. And thirdly, at the end of the day, does exploratory course taking can improve students' outcomes in terms of, say, in college, it could be GPA, time to degree, graduation rate, and then and also thanks to ERC data, we can link the job market, the labor market outcomes to see if we can transfer this into marketable skills. Can we improve students' earnings, the employment opportunities, and even the sectors they can soar into? And finally, I also wish to this project can have some policy implications to see if program offerings or design can actually help students find their best major match in a more efficient way. So there were colleges introduced meta majors, what sometimes they call it major groupings. So instead of allowing students choose and explore like one major out of 100, students first to choose an umbrella major and they can explore from there. So does this help reduce the switching cost and then improve their major match? So all of the answers to these 4 aspects of the project hopefully will give us a deeper understanding of the role of course taking on college major choice. And this will also help students improve their major match, leading to better academic and labor market outcomes, but most importantly, help students choose what they fit and become what they want. Thank you. I'm looking forward to your comments and questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the board? I have one.
I'll just make a comment that I think this work will be really informative to public institutions nationally and especially in the state. So excited to see what you learn.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the only thing I thought of as I was reading it, I think it's super interesting, is, having seen the administrative data, that's what, the higher ed data is, it's administrative data. It probably would be useful to talk to some institutions about how they report the majors in this data. It sounds like maybe you've talked to or are working with the Houston GPS work, so they might be a good place to start. But I do think sometimes there are decisions as to why they might be marking a student as undecided versus maybe a general. But it's a policy thing that I think might be just good to talk to a few institutions about how they're reporting it in the admin data.
I agree. Thank you. That's a great point.
Great. Any other comments or questions? Do I have a motion to approve proposal 5, including remote access?
This is Kathy. I move to approve.
This is Jackie. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
Excited
you.
to see what you find. All right, proposal 6, including remote access request UTA 227. the effect of decriminalizing student discipline on education, labor market, and criminality out. Have someone here to talk to us about this?
Yes. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Zijin He. I'm a fifth-year economics PhD student at UT Austin. So this project is about evaluating the causal effect of decriminalizing student discipline on education, labor, and long-term criminal outcomes, while a series of reforms happened during academic year 2012 to 2016, which gradually prohibit school police officers to give citations, as known as student ticketing, for students who involve in minor offense. So prior to these reforms, students found guilty of offenses such as class disruption, disorderly language, in-school fighting, and truancy could face a Class C misdemeanor, commonly referred to as the student ticket or citation. These could lead to their appearance in justice or municipal court, as known as adult courts, and potentially result in fines of up to $500 per offense, so ultimately resulting in a criminal records. And starting from 2010, there is a surge in citations, promoted a wave of parental complaints, advocating for in-school resolution of student discipline issue rather than involving justice system. So therefore, start from academic year 2012, which Texas passes a series of laws which gradually prohibit school police officers to give citations for student minor offense. This project contributes to current literature from the following perspectives. First, it builds on previous research on the relationship between discipline and education outcome, which has highlighted the negative correlation of disciplinary actions on students. By focusing on the intensive margin, as known as how severe the punishment is, instead of like whether they punish or not, this study aims to provide insights into how different levels of disciplinary measures influence student behavior, academic performance, and subsequent employment opportunities and criminal activities. Second, this project also contributes to literature on the consequences of criminal records on future outcome. Existing studies have demonstrated that juvenile arrests and detentions negatively affect high school completion rates and increase the likelihood of future arrests, particularly impacting disadvantaged groups based on race and income. So for this study, I'm going to use a difference in difference approach, comparing areas, specifically school district versus other school district, more and less affected by the policy change. By using the ERC data, I'm able to track students over time from their performance in middle and high school to long-run labor market outcome and to further criminal records. So I believe the findings provide guidance for the development of disciplinary policies, trying to answer the fundamental question of whether reducing the severity of punishment holds the potential to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline. Thank you so much for considering my proposal. Welcome to comments and questions.
I noticed that you asked for residence county and employment county, and it does look like that's in the TWC data, but I've just gone through some clarifications with that. It actually shows the county of record for the employer's address, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's where the job actually was located. So I would not use either of those two county fields.
I see. So how about the county in the school, like the school data, like high school and middle school? Is that the county?
Yeah, the TWC, the wage data.
Yeah.
Don't use the county fields associated with the wage data.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. There's none. Do I have a motion to approve proposal 6, including remote access request?
A motion to approve?
Have a second?
Now move to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, proposal 7, including a remote access request UTA 228, the value of non-calculus high school math, pathways and shaping students' post-secondary education and employment. Anyone here to talk to us about this?
Hi,
Hi.
this is Matt Gianni. Good to see everyone. So I'll try to give a brief overview of the proposal and then open it up for questions. Obviously, there's been extensive research on the importance of the rigor of students' high school curriculum generally for shaping their post-secondary education and employment outcomes, and the value of rigorous math course taking specifically. And there's been a lot of research on the kind of typical math rigor sequence, going from algebra to geometry to algebra 2, and then through pre-calculus and culminating in calculus and often calculus A, B, and BC. But of course, there's been a lot of interest in statistics and quantitative reasoning and other types of non-calculus math sequences for students, particularly students that might not be intending to pursue STEM disciplines in higher education or in their future career paths. But there hasn't been quite as much research on first just the kind of supply of these different types of courses. So how much availability is there for calculus versus statistics and other rigorous math courses that are not calculus per se? What student and school characteristics are associated with the types of courses that students take? And then how do calculus versus other types of rigorous math course opportunities shape students' post-secondary education and employment outcomes? So the purpose of this project is to essentially investigate those things, both to kind of descriptively examine the math course taking across the state over a long period of time. We're looking at about 20 years of course taking history for Texas schools, and then also examining students' post-secondary education and employment outcomes and how they're related to whether they took calculus or statistics or other types of math courses. And the one thing that I'll point out is that I am in the process of trying to obtain advanced placement exam scores, because we know that many of these courses are offered through advanced placement, and at least some analyses would benefit from identifying whether students obtained passing scores or scores that would provide them with college level credit on these AP exams. But I have submitted a request to the College Board to receive that data. I've been in communication with TEA about this, where I need to obtain permission from College Board first, and then TEA would be able to provide the AP exam score data. So I've submitted that request. I haven't gotten it approved from College Board yet. But I should also say that the project does not hinge on the advanced placement exam scores. Simply examining students' course taking is going to be a part of the analysis no matter what, and relating their course taking to their subsequent post-secondary education and employment outcomes. So the project does not depend on the ability to get the AP exam scores necessarily. And finally, just because it was mentioned in another proposal, things like CBM 001, I didn't indicate the newer names of the enrollment, the course enrollment fields or files from coordinating board, but I would like those data files as well. So anyway, I'll stop there and see if anyone has any questions or concerns about the proposal.
Yeah, I have a question, but I thought this one was interesting. When I was in high school, I stopped at algebra 2, and I barely got through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I picked sociology as a college major, and you had to take statistics by hand first time, I passed that fairly easily for me as far as math goes, because it seemed to make more sense. So that was funny that I never advanced past algebra 2, but now I've taken multiple statistics and advanced statistics classes, and I don't think I could do calculus at all, but yeah, interesting study.
Yeah, and I wouldn't go this far necessarily, but some have said, you know, is calculus the new Latin, where it's a gatekeeper and it's used to select students, particularly into higher education, even if students don't necessarily need it in the specific path that they'd like to pursue. And other types of courses like statistics and quantitative reasoning would actually be more beneficial for the specific pathway students are taking. And there's been a lot of reform in this area, the new mathways and things like that. The Dana Center at UT has done a ton of work on these new pathways. But yeah, that's part of the question that we want to examine is which types of students take these courses, and then how do they relate to their subsequent outcomes?
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I have one question. Matt, on the data table, you're requesting data to the current. And I think on your proposal, you're mentioned you're looking at the data until pre-COVID. So I wonder, do you need the current data for comparisons, or could you talk more about that? Yeah.
I think the idea was to use high school graduates through 2020 to COVID, and then we would want to look at their outcomes after that. So probably what makes sense is to have through current for the college outcomes, but we probably only need through 2020 for the other ones, the TA, K-12, graduation, course records, things like that. So thanks for pointing that out.
Thank you for clarifying it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve with the amendment of the addition of the OC1 and the OCS? All right. And the change of the years for the TAD.
This is Becky. I'd move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, Celeste.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, all.
All right, proposal 8, including remote access request UTA 229, effects of relaxing fiscal constraint student outcomes. We have a researcher here to talk about this.
Yep. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for considering my proposal, and let me give you kind of a brief overview of what I plan to do with this data. So, in general, school districts play a crucial role in providing a sound instructional environment or facilities to their students. But to undertake those large-scale capital projects, school districts typically rely on borrowing from the public market, and the debt service payments are typically paid through collecting local property tax revenues. And however, not all school districts can always raise the debt up to the level that they want to raise, because most states impose a borrowing cap to maintain the financial health of local governments. But sometimes this prevents some local school districts from investing at the optimal level. So what's kind of nice about Texas is that they started implementing an effective tool, which are called Instructional Facilities Development, or an existing debt loan program around 1998 to sort of address this concern. And both of these programs kind of lowered the marginal and average debt financing cost of school districts by paying for a fraction of debt service payments for eligible bonds. So in this respect, I studied those two debt assistance programs in Texas around 1998 to evaluate how sort of relaxing those local fiscal constraints can affect capital investment and its welfare implications on students. So in this sense, the ERC data is kind of necessary, since it has first granular income statement data to observe how district financing changes after the program was implemented, and two, various student level outcome variables to measure gains from allowing sort of districts to initiate evaluating projects. So I believe the main sort of benefits from this project is that the residents will be, the result of this project will be useful to residents, as the essence of the project is essentially basically measuring the efficiency of additional capital spending or additional state or tax money. And then it also benefits both the state and independent school district, since the project revisits the successful state initiatives to alleviate the local debt burden, and reiterates the importance of additional measures to distressed districts that cannot really borrow enough to maintain the facilities conditions, given that recently other factors such as rising construction costs constrain them from borrowing from the public market. And that's it. And if you have any comments, just let me know.
Yeah, I just have the same comment from an earlier proposal regarding the employment county and residence county fields in the TWC wage data. That's not what those actually show, so don't use those two county fields.
Thank you.
And
a follow-up. I'm sorry.
Oh, I muted myself. Sorry, that was in the data table, when you're asking for the THECD student data, you mentioned that you're looking for demographic data on students, but say grade/degree classification. I wanted to make sure that was you were just trying to look at what classification the student was, because that data you're requesting doesn't have course grades. But I thought maybe you were meaning grade kind of like in a K-12 sense, like what level.
Yeah, sorry. I should have been more clear. Yeah.
No, I just want to make sure, because if you want actual grades of courses, that would be a different data. But it sounds like if you want classification level, then you're asking for the right.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out.
I just noticed, and like some of the others, you might want to add C1.
Yes. I think actually I would suggest the CS as well, because that's how you can get total course load or SEH load in the new versions that's compiled from the OCS. Is that right? So
okay. So Thomas, is that something you'd want to add, the CBMOOS?
Go back to my.
Or it would be needed for the contact hours or credit hours.
That I think that might be useful because essentially, like, some of the placebo tests would require that the teaching quality or other like instructional measures didn't really change because of this program. Like the effect should be coming from having sort of a nicer facilities or more like safer facilities. But that's going to be definitely useful in this project.
Any other questions? Right, we have a motion to approve proposal 8, including remote access, with the amendment to add OC1 and OCS.
This is Kathy.
I'll move to approve. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second Angie.
Angie was first, Kathy second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right. We'll now take up item 5. I'm going to read all this. Excuse me while I read everything from now on. I won't be as animated as I usually am. Take up item 5, consultation with legal counsel regarding FERPA and HIA compliance and Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act requirements. This item may be held in closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code 551.071. And the advisory board will meet in a closed meeting to deliberate the following matters pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071. The advisory board will meet in closed session to engage in consultation with legal counsel regarding FERPA and HIA compliance and Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act requirements. No other business of the advisory board will be discussed before we reconvene in open session. It is now 2:28 p.m. We will convene executive session. Advisory board members, we will now move on to room number 12.224 for the closed meeting. Board members attending virtually, please remain on the Zoom call while we assign you to the executive session breakout room. be patient, as it might take a moment before you see the pop-up message asking you to join the virtual breakout. You will be automatically moved to the executive session as soon as you click join breakout room. Thank you. So see you all in a moment. I'm just gonna leave my open.
This one next. You want me to remove people?
All right.
Here
Do I
we
need
are.
to invite everyone back?
You don't have to like say anything at the end of closed session.
Oh, okay.
It's just like,
Where did everybody go?
To the main room.
Can we go back to or it's here? Oh, why is technology so?
We're all here.
This is here.
Okay. We're back.
make sure you have
We are adjourning, right? That's what we're doing right now. Okay, wait, let me see who's here. We don't have everybody yet.
We do have.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Can we make it
5. Oh, there's more people. Okay. So next item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Emotion.
A second.
Sorry.
I raise a hand to say aye. Yes, agreed.
Okay, thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 one second.